Welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danika Foley Long. With me, we have the mayor of the City of Patterson, Mr. Rodney Grogan. It is a pleasure to have you here.
It's always a blessing to be here.
Yes, and I think the last time we talked was actually during the hurricane. We're going to talk a little bit about the hurricane and
Okay.
our disaster relief efforts out in Patterson and also just post-storm. But right now, I just kind of want to jump into something else. I mean, I like to go for the good stuff sometimes.
Okay.
You know, I don't know how the rest of Patterson is feeling, but I actually had it on my calendar to go to the Fall Fest. And of course, we are all still dealing with the effects and the impact of COVID. Has the Fall Fest been postponed or is it canceled? Because it was supposed to take place September 11th.
We actually posted that it was canceled. It was a decision that I left up to the Main Street group, and they kept in dialogue with Dr. Malonson, from what I was told. And you hear when I say I kind of left it up to them, because this is one time I was kind of wishy-washy, simply because the Friday night football games are going to go on, the Saints are going to play, LSU is going to play, all of this stuff is going on, and this was just a one-day festival and so forth, and a hometown festival. So I kind of stayed out of it. I want to say that since I know the high school homecoming has been moved to October the 22nd, maybe I can get with the Main Street and we can get with the vendors and we get with Dr. Malonson. If the numbers kind of start decreasing and the deaths in this area due to the virus, maybe it would be back on, because it's just a one-day event.
Yeah.
And I could tell you, if I hang with you, I normally know what takes place, and the people that mingle, they stay within their family groups, within their friendship group, and it's on, like I said, it's one day. So, but like I said, I'm very funny. Nothing else has stopped where the big congregations with a mega manifestation of the virus can take place.
Yeah. And I know these are concerns that just about every organization, every agency, every board that's out there is having these same conversations.
Right.
And I know homecoming is a big draw for the
Yes.
festival.
Right.
I noticed that when you guys started doing it more and more, it was like it was right around homecoming.
Right.
But homecoming has only been postponed, so it has not gone away. And right now, it may be up in the air that
It may be up in the air.
that you may do you may
yeah.
conduct both of them together.
Right, right. The vendors was a major concern for us. And then also we had people, the class reunions, that people noticed the numbers were rising and the deaths and so forth. So they said, we're going to stay in place. We're going to stay sheltered where we're at. So, but as for right now, if Main Street approaches me and we can get with Dr. Malonson, because we pay close attention to what he's telling us. And maybe we could have it during later on in October.
Yeah. Let's talk about COVID and COVID money. You know, there's monies associated with this virus, this pandemic, and in a good way, in that you're able to use those funds. It's the American Recovery Program Act.
Right.
And you get some good money. There's some $2.1 million, I believe.
Well, we did receive our first half. We did receive it about 2 weeks ago. And it's really water, sewer, and broadband. Water, sewer, broadband, and COVID. Now, when you talk about broadband, we learned a lot from the hurricane. AT&T was down. We have FirstNet. We were told we would never be without communication. Well, we learned. So since then, on yesterday, we had a company come in. We're going to go back with the handheld radios and so forth, high frequency, whereas our first responders won't be at a disadvantage and so
That's
forth.
right.
So we're going to use that money for that. For broadband, we're going to make our parks internet friendly and so forth.
on.
We're going to have charging stations around the city and at our community center and so forth. Plus, we're putting cameras out in our park. We already have them at Moray Park, but we're going to put them at the other parks. So we're going to use that money for broadband. Of course, broadband has been here. It's here. Now, we're talking about areas and unincorporated areas that the parish will handle that.
Yes.
But as for the City of Patterson, we have identified what we need, okay? When you talk about first responders, money for first responders, well, we decided to give a 3% increase in pay from the American Recovery money, 3% increase in pay for our workers. Plus, we're going to take 3% from the general fund. So they're going to get a 6%
Come
increase
on.
in pay. Okay.
Are y'all hiring?
So with that being said, now we have 40 members on our volunteer firefighters. They're not going to get it, but however, because they're not employed with us.
Right.
However, we will put money there to make sure that they get the equipment, upgrade their equipment that they need to fight with the out here with this virus. Right. And then the money with water and sewer, of course, we're going to use that as needed. We have 9 lift stations that need to be refurbished with the sewer department. We're going to get that taken care of. And then the other COVID money, that's with the outreach, with getting money, mental health, and all of that, sponsoring things to make sure people get vaccinated.
Okay, good. 'Cause I want to talk more about the broadband. I don't know, that just opened my mind. Come on back. You'll be right back here at the Voice of the Coast with yours truly. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. My guest today is Mayor Rodney Grogan with the City of Patterson. Let's go back to some of that money. And you talked about broadband, and it really sparked in me because I said, wow, no one really talks about broadband as far as making it accessible to the public. Was that something that you did by survey? How did you know? Where did that idea come from? Because most times when we hear about recovery funds, it's going to infrastructure, it's going to streets, to roads, which I think that's a part of your plan as well. But why broadband? How did that come up?
I listen to my millennials. I have millennials on staff, and also I listen to the needs of when I'm in different areas around the city. I don't have access. I can't get on. I can't log on. I don't know what. I need to get this. I need to get that. And that's the society that we're in right now. If you want to order pizza while you're in the park for supper and so forth, you could do that. You could, but it's oftentimes, what's the password? You just can't.
Yeah.
There's no accessibility.
And I'm gonna tell you, I am. It depends on what Google document you're looking at, because I, for one, am actually considered either millennial or X. I'm somewhere in there.
Okay.
And I say that because there are times when I'm out and I'm eating and I may want to access something. During conversation, let me look that up. We're in a world of convenience, right? That's people want convenience. I mean, do I believe in phone calls and visiting? Yes, I do. But we're in a different time era where you can't really talk and be in the company of people as much as you used to. I like the fact that you are getting your millennials involved because, to be honest with you, and I think I'm speaking, I can speak on behalf of a lot of people, you don't get a lot of the input from millennials.
Right. Well, the input is there, but how they're being approached, because most of the time when you ask a young person, so what do you think? Before you let them get the answer out, you've already said, well, this is what I'm expecting. This is what we plan to do. Yeah. Okay. So when I speak to them, I say, look, broadband. You tell me how can we utilize this, and so that the answer come back. Well, you need to make the city internet friendly. You need to make our parks internet friendly. You need to make, like right now, people are calling for the evacuees. Do you have a charging where you can go in and make a charging station where they could charge up their phones, their laptops, and so forth? We don't have it, but I bet we will have it.
Something else to think about. We don't have a lot of Teslas here, but hey, we're going electric. Might need a place to charge up a vehicle too.
Correct.
Yeah. So I just wanted to remark about that because oftentimes, let's just be honest. St. Mary is trying to tout itself as a retirement community. You yourself, Patterson, you're a bedroom community.
Well, let me correct that because when I took office, we were known as a bedroom community. We are known, we have been identified in an area for young people to start their families and so forth, basically because of the amount of land that we have for development, for housing and so forth.
You've changed your tune here?
Well, I never
ain't seen no articles. Okay, that's all right. Make it known right here. I like to break it. So, okay.
Yes, Morgan City was identified as a retirement city and so forth. Patterson was for young beginning families because of the starter homes and the available land and so forth. And we were identified in one of the little surveys, but Morgan City, not Patterson.
I'm still saying St. Mary because I talked to our parish president. I was at that meeting.
Well, your parish president governs the unincorporated
Yeah, I know.
areas and
Yeah.
all the different mayors. We toot our horns for what our personal identifications with our municipalities.
Young families. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so you guys have changed the tune. That's awesome. Okay, so let's. Oh, so you just had a meeting.
Yes.
And you are doing something that's still. This is breaking news. I love it. I love it. Changing the charter.
We have 4 propositions that basically have to get past the council first. One is for a mayor to actually, because the charter says nothing about a mayor having a high school diploma or any type of qualification. So, except for being 25 years old and 2 years of residency. All right. So we're asking that at least have it written in the charter that they have a high school diploma or a GED.
Hold
Okay.
that thought, because we do have to take a break. So that's at least one of them. That's interesting that there's nothing about education. So 25
Right.
years old and
2
2
years.
years. Actually, I think there's some places where you have to be 18. So we've seen some younger folks become mayor with
Right.
that. That's interesting. But we're going to come back, talk more about the charter changes. Come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, my host is Mayor Rodney Grogan, and we're talking about I am the host. I've done that before. You can ask me some questions if you like. I'm open to it. But I'm going to take my role back. I'm the host, Danika Foley Long, and we have the guest, Mayor Rodney Grogan of the City of Patterson. So let's talk back about the charter changes. So one of which is changing the requirements for mayor.
And the qualifications at least address education, stated in the charter, because it's not mentioned in the charter. And the other one is that a chief of police be post-certified.
That's not in
That's
there?
not in the charter.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
not in the charter.
remember, yeah.
And then the other one is that the mayor and the chief of police compensation mirror each other. I just recently asked for an increase in pay. Council introduced it. So therefore, by introducing it, next month, public hearing, after we come out of public hearing, then there's a vote, and then 10 days afterwards, then after it's voted upon, it goes into effect. Whereas the chief of police, you can vote on it now, but it doesn't go into effect until the next term.
And it goes on a ballot?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
What will go on the ballot, we're asking to mirror the mayor's language in compensation, make the chief language mirror the mayor.
Okay.
So therefore, in the near future, if you want to change the chief of police salary, it will go into effect right during that term. Now, that goes before the people.
Okay.
Anytime you touch that charter, that goes before the people.
Gotcha.
But it does not go before the people until it has to get 4 out of the 5 votes from the council to be placed on the ballot. Now, we're trying to get it on the ballot for March. So this month, it was discussion. Next month, hopefully we get it introduced. And then in November, we vote. And then in December, we get it to the Secretary of State's office and get it on the ballot for March.
Okay. And then, of course, there's another situation at hand, and that is we're talking about salary, an increase of salary for yourself.
Well, when I took office in 2011, the salary for mayor was $20,000. And in 2014, I asked for an increase, and it went from $20,000 to $36,000 with a $6,000 vehicle stipend. So that put me at $42,000. So I asked council on Tuesday night to review basically the progress moving forward with the city. Would it be time to give me another salary increase? And so I asked for $48,000. And with a $6,000 vehicle stipend, so that would put me at $54,000. But let me say something about the vehicle stipend. I'm taxed every pay period on that vehicle stipend, and then I'm taxed at the end of the year. So out of that $6,000, I probably receive about $3,500 or $4,000 out of that. So council said, yes, we will, it was introduced, and they say, we really want to give you more. But, you know, we looked at all the mayors, and we looked at Morgan City pay, we looked at the chief of police in Berwick, we looked at Baldwin, we looked at Generette, we looked at all those numbers. And so roughly that's where we came in with the 50, 54 range.
Okay. Also, making you part-time and full-time. When I say you, the position of mayor.
When I took office, it was always stated that mayor was a part-time position. You can't find that nowhere in the charter. But there's no such thing as a part-time
I was going
mayor.
to say, right.
Because I would be wrong to walk in Walmart and someone say, well, I want to talk about the ditches. And so when I tell you, catch me at 8:30 in the
That's
morning.
right.
I stayed in my office. I stayed overnight for the storm. I kept people abreast of it. I wasn't taking your job and no one else's job. But the thing about it was I was letting the Pattersonians know, look, this is what's going on. But mayor is mayor. It's in church. It's at a funeral. It's at a baseball game. It's here. I'm talking to you, So it's a 24-hour job, same as the chief of police.
I know the feeling. But we're going to come on back. This time is just going by so quickly. But of course, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're getting this information out. When we come back, talk a little bit about just the senior meals and also disaster relief. Okay. We want to talk a little bit about that as well. So come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast.
Number two is the
Welcome
raise
back
and the baby.
To The Voice of the Coast. Sorry you caught me, but we're going to keep rolling with it. We talk about food over here. So here we go. What I mentioned, I want to definitely get onto that disaster relief, touch about that post-Ida. You guys were really out there, really pushing and helping not just people in Patterson. When I say people, meaning the evacuees that may have come out.
Let's take back was and say is.
You're still,
this is
right,
going to be
it's still
ongoing.
ongoing. You're right. You are so right.
I serve on the LMA board, Louisiana Municipal Association board, and I represent District J. And in District J, there are 22 municipalities. 5 of the municipalities were untouched, and that's Morgan City, Patterson, Berg, Franklin, and Baldwin. The other 17 were affected. So now we're still trying to reach out to the Golden Meadow area, to Grand Isle. When I see Comedale say they need food out there in Grand Isle, we went to Dulac out there with Eugene over with Franklin delivering, and they need help out in Dulac, Dulage, over in Chauvin, all of those areas. New Orleans is going to get taken care of. Baton Rouge is going to get taken care of. Houma is going to be getting taken care of. And Thibodeau. I found out the other day, Bastrop was destroyed and so forth. Gibson, right around the corner. So we're getting a lot of connection from around the country, not just in the parish, not just in the state, from around the country. We have volunteers at the Old Patterson City Hall right now, 20 to 25 volunteers from Indiana that are in, all they do is sleep, eat, and go back out into the disaster area and so forth. So we're helping out our neighbors. And because it could be, tomorrow is my birthday. Tomorrow I'll be 56. Hurricane Betsy, 56 years. So that's the peak. September 10th is the peak of the season. So we still have to go
to November.
Right. So it could be us.
Yes, you're right.
So we're looking out for our brothers and our neighbors.
And the Civic Center, I've seen a lot of utility vehicles over there as well. Are you housing volunteers?
Those are shelters. Those are shelters that are really being governed, taken care of through the Office of Homeland Security, OEP, with the emergency preparedness. That's for the parish. They're handling that. We're just dealing with volunteers right now and collecting items and distributing them. Matter of fact, as I told you, we have 18-wheelers that will be coming in next week with just non-perishable items and so forth that we have to get out into the impacted areas.
Right. And your guys are actually delivering it?
We're actually delivering it.
And that's city workers?
We have city workers and we have volunteers.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. As far as senior meals, I know that was something that had been kind of just rolling. It was constant. Typically, how many meals are you pushing out?
We're pushing right now. Yesterday, we pushed 172.
But that's a little more than the norm, right?
Because of the evacuees. And I think some of the seniors just backed off from, because it is a drive-through. It's a drive-through luncheon. So I think that a lot of seniors just backed off on yesterday in order to allow the evacuees to get a meal. But the reason we doubled up, because it was once a month for the senior luncheon, now it's twice a month. And the reason we looked at that was because we looked at how you can use the COVID money and so forth. utility rates and everything and food, all of that is a rising cost, gas and so forth. Our seniors' income is constant.
Right.
And so we see seniors come in and they have to make a choice between paying the bill or buying something to eat. So we looked at the use of the COVID money to help the seniors also. And that's our way of helping the seniors, providing the meals and feeding those, not just seniors, but disabled and those that just can't afford things right now.
And I was going to say, I mean, yes, we're dealing post-Ida, but you have situations going on right now.
Correct.
So definitely, I think many people could appreciate the help that you guys are offering. And where are the locations of the senior meals? Are you, is it one location, one stop?
205 Park Street is the police substation. It used to be the Patterson Health Center. And, but you know the blessed part about this? I said COVID money. It may be a very little COVID money. You wouldn't believe the donations that come in. $300, $400, $500 for the meals. It costs about $250 to $300 per meal.
Per meal. Okay. All right. Well, that is all the time we have. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.
Well, what if I'm not ready to go?